Today we're going to make a clay piece of pie. It's going to turn out looking kind of like this, but you can do your own kind of pie, your own toppings if you'd like. You can even do like a little fall scene up there if you want to. But you need to listen to all the directions because the rules of clay are the same for everybody, meaning the way clay works. So let me get these guys out of the way. Ah! Clay monster, I still need to paint him. Move out of the way, guys. Move out of the way. Okay, so this is our goal. This one, yeah? Or similar. Now, you should have a piece of fabric to protect your table and a lump of clay. And the fabric might move around a little bit as you're doing clay, and that's okay. You just put it back. Take off a little bit of your clay to save for the toppings of your pie. Okay, so take off a little bit. I might do a little bit more. We'll save that for later. Set it off to the side. Then this clay, we're going to wedge 2 or 3 times. And remember, to wedge means we use these bones of your wrist. You have to stand up and you kind of push it away from you. You do 2 or 3 only. You only do 2 or 3. If you do too much, this clay gets very tired very quickly. But we need to warm it up and warm your hands up. So now we're going to make the triangle form. And so I kind of do it like a rough sphere, and I kind of start getting it rough into a triangle, triangular prism, right? Then we're going to start banging out the shape on your fabric. Let's see here. So that's going to be my crust. No, actually, I'm going to make that be my crust. And I'm gonna, it's coming out too small. I want it to go bigger. So I'm gonna use my hands, kind of stand up and squish it down. Okay, so now I have a rough shape of my pie piece. You could get your fingers wet a little bit. Not too much. You don't want a whole bunch of mud, but you can get your fingers wet a little bit and smooth it. For some of you, I may have even already formed this triangular prism a little bit just to help us save time, but everybody needs to smooth. Everybody can smooth, but food, just like art, is not perfect, right? So it doesn't need to be perfect, but I want to get the rough shape. I started doing a little bit too much water. I better be careful. I want to get the rough shape of my triangular prism here for my piece of pie. Got a big crack right there. I'm going to smooth it. Okay. I like this side the best, I think, for the top. Now, we have this. Now the easy part right here, you're gonna pinch to make it look like that crust right there. Pretty easy, right? See how I did that and my fingers are showing? And if you want, you can even use a tool and add a little bit more detail. No big deal. Easy peasy. Okay, now here's the more challenging part. We're gonna make the top. And like I said, you don't have to do this, but a lot of people like how it looks, and it's this woven part of the crust. They will take the crust and weave it on top, and it holds in the fruit filling. Mine's cherry, but it holds in the fruit filling there. So, remember our extra stuff that we had? Warm it up, just a little bit, and you're going to make a tortilla. Stand up if you need to. And make it flat. You don't want it too fat like a pancake or too thick. You want it thinner like a tortilla. Does not have to be a perfect circle, but we want it kind of big and kind of thin. Now we're going to go back to your clay tools, and if you have one of these, it's best because it's stronger. And we're going to cut strips. All right, so now I have my strips, and now I need to kind of measure. Now the thing is, I'm going to start with the long one first. The thing is, they don't go up and down like this, they go diagonal. Okay, so I think I'm going to do that one there, and look, I have extra. Pinch it off. That's how you subtract with clay. Okay, then I think I'll try this one. Oh, that's too long. I'll try this one, and it has an angle here, so I'll make that work with my crust. Okay, too long here. Pinch off the extra, set it aside. And maybe this one. Pinch off the extra, set it aside. Okay, now I want to go this way, the opposite. Oh, that's pretty close. A little bit extra. Maybe it could go, see, they don't all have to go up here and start at the crust. They could start down here some. Pinch off the extra. I think I want a little piece under there. So I'm going to use one of my other little pieces. Stick it under there. And up here. Pinch off the extra. Okay, now that looks okay, but it's not woven. Remember our weaving from paper weaving? Put the extra over here. So I'm going to take the top pieces and set them over here. It's still kind of in order. I'm going to take the bottom pieces and set them up here because we have to do another very important step. And that is score and slip. Clay, it will stick to itself when it's wet, but when it's dry, it will fall apart. It needs to be like Velcro. That's what we need to make. So I'm going to take my strip and go to the bottom. And this is really fast with like a fork like this. But you could do it with whatever. And you're going to just gently scratch it all on the back. And I'm going to put it here, so I'm going to gently scratch where it's going to go, like I'm making Velcro on the clay, right? Now that's called scoring. The slip is basically old clay with some water. So see, now I am getting my hands a little bit muddy. And I put that on the scratched parts. And now they will glue together. But I'm not pushing too hard just yet because we're going to weave these things together, right? So I'm just going to score and slip. I think this one went down here. It's getting pretty wet, so I have to be careful. Score. Probably has enough water on there, it'll be fine. And I think this one went down here. Score. Means to scratch it a little bit. There we go. I'm getting a lot of water going on, so I better be careful. If we get too much water, it gets weak. Now, this one went here, this one went here, and this one went here, right? These are my top pieces. But I need to weave it. So do you remember like paper weaving? I still have to score it. Now, I go over this one, under this one. And then I can push them down more. You see? Then this one, I started this one over. So now, this is why I didn't push them down too much. I go under, over, under. A little bit extra, but we'll clean that up in a minute. Now you see how we're getting the weaving pattern? We have to go opposite. Now this one will start over, opposite, under, because see that one was that one went over, so now we go under, over, under. You remember all this? I'm going to scoot that one over a little bit more because I want some more space to show there. Then you just clean it up. You just clean up the edges, press it down, clean up any rough spots like that, okay? Now the last thing that everybody needs to do, you can make your top different if you'd like, but everybody needs to go to the sides. And this is best with this other end of your utensil, or you could use one of these, it doesn't matter. I use the other end here. So this is our crust side, right? And the pie needs to look like it has a filling. So I'm gonna do gently a line here. And if you get some little bits, put it in your slip cup. Oop, don't flick it like I just did. Then we're gonna do down here. So that way it makes it look like there's crust, right? Okay, got a rough part. Smooth out those rough parts, because if you don't, it's gonna be sharp when it dries. Now I think I wanna make this one be an apple pie. So I might just do some lines every which way to look like chunky bits of apple. But on this other one where we're making it a cherry pie, we did circles, just a few. Now what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Just like when you guys start to do fractions. Got some clay bit on there, put it in my slip cup. Make sure it doesn't get on the floor. Remember, we have to carve into up here by the crust, then going down this way. So it looks like there's that top layer of crust. And going down on the bottom, so it looks like there's that bottom layer of crust. We don't do it down here. That part's kind of open. Little bits in the slip cup, and I make my filling. Oop, too deep. Too deep. All right. So now I have my piece of pie. If you want to, you could add some Cool Whip up here, like whipped cream. You could add a cherry. I think I'll use my little bits here and make some Cool Whip or some whipped cream. I'll show you how. Make it into a coil or snake and start to roll it. It's gonna kind of look like a poop emoji, not gonna lie. There, so I'm gonna put it on there for my little, I think I wanna make it a little flatter on the bottom. But what do I have to do whenever I'm sticking clay to clay? I hope you said score and slip. Score and slip, slip. That's how we make it like Velcro on clay and stick it on there. There we go, ta-da! Now we're gonna put this to dry. It's gonna take a while because it's real heavy, but and then we'll paint it later. Hope you had fun.